Let's quickly look at this first topic of conversation, which is talking about Union Bank and Oando'S acquisition as shareholders reject proposed scheme arrangement. I have with me in the studio here, as usual, the Chief Research Officer of Invest Data Limited, Ambrose Omodio. Mr. Ambrose, first and foremost, in a layman's language, how can you give us more insight into this development and then make us understand how investors or shareholders with these two organizations, how they can be affected?
Yeah, actually, the company on the exchange, they are free entry and free exit, and they have shareholders, whether you are listed or not, have a group of shareholders that have interest in the company. The good thing is here that when the major shareholder in Union Bank came with a kind of offer to buy Union Bank minor shareholder out, because they are all shareholders. But now they bought the majority from the already existing shareholder before that sold to the Titanic bank that was just about 3 years old in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's Titan Trust Bank.
Yeah, just about 3 years old. But that is not the problem. But the price to settle the majority is what is the problem now. Ideally, if you look at Nigeria Stock Exchange, the law book, they have position that in the last 6 months, that is in a normal circumstance. That yes, in the last 6 months, the highest price, and from there you cannot pick the highest price to settle, which I believe that's what they've used. But looking at the value of the bank, yes, it's good that the minorities have gone to court or want to kind of renegotiate with the majority that comes. Want to just take us off. We're not saying no, we're ready to go, but pay us a good price. Well, it's not the first time it's happened in Nigeria Stock Exchange.
Yes.
Remember when Dangote and Dangote's Flour and Ola came to discuss. What Dangote did is that he discussed both on his behalf and also the minority shareholder that initially they started with discussion about 26 naira to buy off. They concluded at 24 naira. What's it called? Dangote was settled at 24 naira, and that was a smooth one, and the market enjoyed that kind of transaction.
Okay.
But now, what we are seeing that some companies are trying to shortchange the minority shareholder, which for me is not good. That is why we are seeing these agreements here and there. But for Bank, let's start from there. Yes, if the bank that's coming and said, we want to buy you out at 7 naira, and they feel that the book value of Union Bank is about 9 naira 20 kobo, but they are saying they are buying out at 7 naira. It depends if you're able to negotiate between that 8 naira and 7 naira. That is, for me, I don't have issue. That is why they are shareholders. They have to negotiate. I'm happy that they said they are coming and extra AGM, they want to discuss that. But the good thing is that court have approved, the regulators are approved, and they paid off and they've transacted already. It's just to pay the money. Well, that is clear. But for Oando, for me, they're always trying to play smart in everything they do. This is a company that came to the market in the last almost 8 years to approach the investor public. Their existing shareholder that come, we need the right to raise additional fund. Now we did our right issue around 17 naira 50 kobo. Now we are turning around now to come and say after 8 years you have not paid dividend to these shareholders. You are approaching them again, so we want to buy out. Indirectly, we started with that the minority shareholder came to the board to say they want to delist. At the round now, when things are almost getting at the top now, we're seeing that it's Oceanic also, which is part of Oando business, is one buying out investor. That means they are not transparent from the first day of this started. Even they go to court to get adjustment for a scheme and all those stuff. But now that shareholders they know who is going in for the business. They said, no, what is 7 naira 7 kobo for Oando that I bought the last right issue at 17 naira 50 kobo? I think they have case for that. And for me, you can't use this NSC law book now in this case because it's out of law book. Law book, this is going to have stayed for 8 years, no dividend, and the MDs, the executive director of this company, have eat fast on shareholders' fund. They've traveled on shareholders' fund. They made profit. They discovered loss. All those stuff. Now it's not the time to come and tell me story. I believe that the shareholders are taking the right step. That yes, this time let's negotiate. That I believe it's the right step. There's no cost for allowance. That's why we have an AGM and SGM to negotiate this issue.
Of course, and in our local parlance, there's the word we use. They are cashing out. The MDs and the top management team are cashing out on the sweat of these shareholders. But let me get the view of my guests who are joining me virtually. I have Mr. Banu, also macroeconomic analyst. What is your view on this? 7 naira per share and 7 naira 7 kobo per share. How does this come to you, and what's your reaction to this?
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Ambrose has said majority of the talkings about the analysis of the share price. And firstly, is part of the exchange route to say, okay, yes, the highest price has been the particular stock has been traded, was traded over the past particular period, 6 months. So that's one of it. And also the shareholders are also looking at their own side of okay, that's the market price of the party of their own of their company on the exchange, but that may not be the real valuation for the company in the world in their book. So the shareholders are taking the right step to renegotiate probably based on the book value or based on other value compared to the market share. So they are taking the right step. For someone who invested about 10, 12 naira in a particular company, I mean per share of a particular company, are not taking 5 naira, I mean 7 naira away from it. I think it's worth to renegotiate about. And also for the Oando, there has been no cash flow on the particular investment, no dividend, as Abdul has said, and now they are coming out to say, okay, yes, they are delisting at 7 naira 70 kobo from 17 naira for 17 naira down the line. So I think it's kind of boosted the shareholders are taking.
Okay, so let me get Mr. Ajayi's view on this. Already corroborated their view on this question now, but let me ask now, at this point, who should the minority shareholders be running to save their investment in these two organizations, and how can they go about protecting their investment? Because if at the end of the extraordinary general meeting the situation did not pan out in their favor, what will become of their fate, Mr. Ajayi?
I think just like what my two other colleagues on the program have said, the minority investors, they're actually taking the right step, and of course they agreed on the fact that the rate at which they are taking them out is not palatable to them. If you look at the Union Bank, that actually meant on exercise to Titan Bank now. It was taken down. It was bought by Titan from the majority shareholder at 7 naira, and I think that's one of the reasons why they actually want to take that same step on the minority shareholder. But minority felt this is not the right valuation for them, and I think that can be resolved where at the extraordinary general meeting they can sit down and look at everything in total, and maybe on the part of minority shareholder there's something they felt that is not right, but with clarity from the company they can actually end up accepting more. They all need to sit at the table and actually look at the issue in total. And like you said, that at this particular point in time, what do they need to do? And I think that's one of the reasons why they actually currently clamoring and calling on the regulators to also actually wading into the situation. I think the regulators also have things to do in this kind of situation so that they will not actually burst into something that can actually taint the integrity of the market. As we speak, the integrity of the market is very key at such a time like this. So the regulator also needs to wade into the situation and see how to actually ensure that the minority shareholders view is actually addressed. And like you said, if at the end of the day and after the EGM and there's still nothing done or something, they might actually go the legal path, which to some extent may further actually aggravate the issue of that. So, but for me, I still feel that it's something that can be resolved in the EGM or in the AGM, where all parties view or all parties reservation and actually addressed.
Now, finally, before we wrap up on this, Ambrose, let me quickly come to you now. There seems to be a paucity of returns over the years for suggested minority shareholders who have been less worse off to the lack of dividend payment and also reduction in share value, in shareholder value. How do you react to this?
Yeah, actually, for the market, it's not the shareholder that decides what comes to them. It is the company performance and also the market activities. Company can perform well and the market do not treat you right. Then what they used to stand for now is let them stand on the value of the company if they are going to discuss it on AGM. Yes, some company also will not be doing well and you can't give what you don't have. If I'm not doing well, what will I pay dividend? But also, if you look at most companies on the exchange, I will tell you, commodity, especially those ones that are blue chips, their dividend payout is encouraging. And I believe that if they do more, but for shareholders, for me, there's a level you can also agitate for the member, because if your company, you know that your company's performance, you don't want your company to do more than they are performing. In the years time, you need to look at you as a shareholder, what is the capacity after they have taken care of their taxes, what is left for us to share, and that's interesting. If they give you something to share for the future of the company, because they can't pay dividend and tomorrow they close shop. That's why they have to balance it that not all their earnings will be paid as dividend. As shareholder, you also have to be in that. But for me, the area of Oando and Adova and this Union Bank, I think investor has right to agitate and let them come to a round table and agree on what to do.